Hi everyone, Chris here. Welcome back to 6 String Sound Lab. Welcome to episode 3 in our recording guitar series. Today we're going to get our rock and roll on. Turn up some electric guitars. The part we're dealing with is a rock and roll riff that I wrote originally on the bass and adapted to guitar. Expanding that a little bit, there's some palm muting in the verses, and the rhythm section is definitely going to have to step it up to keep up with those guitars. There'll be liberal use of the root 5 so-called power chords people talk about in terms of rock. Let's get to the episode. Let's take a minute to talk about pre-production on this heavy rock track. This time we're miking a speaker cabinet, not an acoustic guitar. Speaker cabinet being very much more directional than the acoustic guitar. In addition to that, we're introducing some gain variables that we haven't had to deal with before. The pickup output and tone on each guitar is a little different. The amp circuitry and the gain that's available for saturating the tone is different. And lastly, do we even need pedals to boost the amp to get the tone we need? All three of those things are pertinent for this kind of a production, and in our production phase, we will have looked at all of that. I would like to double track the part, meaning record it once with one guitar, pan that hard left, use a second guitar that contrasts the first, play the part again and pan it hard right, which really widens the stereo image and gives a very complex, nuanced rhythm sound. In our earlier episodes, we had questions we were asking about the parts. What is the part and how is it being played? Well, in the case of hard rock, usually playing with a pick, so we got that. There are two separate sections in this song, the main riff and the verse parts. The main riff is open and ringing with big power chords sustaining for long periods of time and chopped off too. The verses, on the other hand, are palm muted and nothing's really ringing. It brings the dynamic down and you can hear the compression artifact out of the gained up guitar sound. If we dial in a good sound, then all we need is a good performance and we have it nailed. Now that we have the pre-production in hand, let's get into a few technical details. Let's take it to the lab. Hello everyone, welcome back to Lab Corner. Today we're talking about our mini production in the heavy rock genre. First thing we need to know is we're no longer miking an acoustic guitar, we're miking a guitar cabinet. In this case, we have a 2x12 closed back cabinet. That matters. Closed back cabinets have a higher bass response. There's more of a thump or a woof as all that air is redirected forward. Where an open back cab, you get some air escaping when the speaker vibrates out the back, so it's more diffuse and open sounding. In this case, we recorded into a 2x12 closed back cab, so we have a healthy low end in that cabinet. For this genre, that's exactly what we need. We don't mind the low end at all. The conventional way to mic this kind of guitar would be to keep it on axis and keep it close. We're going to put up a pair of mics on our speaker. One dynamic and one ribbon. The dynamic has more of a hyped up high end, whereas the ribbon has a natural roll-off in the high end. In this genre of heavy rock, we don't mind the proximity effect. It actually becomes a benefit to us. If we were recording a different genre, we would pull the mics farther away to reduce that bass boost. But in this case, we're just going to roll with it because it supports the result we're after. Now that we've covered pre-production and some technical details, let's hear this track. This is Late Night Rock. Enjoy. That was Late Night Rock. It really took a couple of those riffs, stitched them together, and put them in a context for us to enjoy. Hit that like and subscribe button, leave your comments down below, and please join us next time when we tone it down just a little bit for a classic rock Americana vibe. Until then, this is Chris signing off from 6 String Sound Lab.